A pizza delivery boy stumbles into a cryogenic tube on the last night of the 20th century and wakes up 1,000 years later. That single premise launched one of the strangest, smartest, and most emotionally devastating animated series ever put on television. Futurama debuted on Fox on March 28, 1999, created by Matt Groening and developed alongside David X. Cohen. The show followed Philip J. Fry, a 25-year-old slacker from New York City, as he navigated the year 3000 with a one-eyed mutant pilot named Leela and an alcoholic robot named Bender. Fox canceled the series after 4 seasons in 2003. Reruns on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim built a massive cult following. 4 direct-to-DVD films followed between 2007 and 2009. Comedy Central revived it for 2 more seasons from 2010 to 2013. Hulu brought it back again in 2023. Season 13 premiered on September 15, 2025, with all 10 episodes dropping at once. Season 14 is already confirmed for 2026. Across more than 170 episodes and over a quarter century, 8 voice actors built an entire universe with nothing but microphones and an almost freakish level of talent. Every single one of them is still alive, but every single one of them has a story worth knowing. This is the cast of Futurama, then and now. Tress MacNeille voiced Mom, the tyrannical head of MomCorp who could flatten a boardroom with a single raised eyebrow. She also played Linda, the perpetually smiling news anchor who could deliver apocalyptic headlines without losing her composure. MacNeille was born Teresa Claire Payne on June 20, 1951, in Chicago, Illinois. She married Kevin Whitsitt MacNeille. When Futurama premiered, she was 47 years old and already one of the most prolific voice actresses in animation history. She had been voicing Babs Bunny on Tiny Toon Adventures, Dot Warner on Animaniacs, and a rotating cast of characters on The Simpsons since 1990. By 1992, she had become the first female voice actress to earn more than $1 million in a single year. She spent 10 years as a member of the Groundlings, the legendary Los Angeles improvisational comedy troupe that also produced Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig. Before she ever stepped behind a microphone for a cartoon, she appeared on screen in the music video for Weird Al Yankovic's 1983 song Ricky, playing Lucille Ball. She later sang on his 1999 album Running with Scissors. At 74 years old, MacNeille continues to work at a pace that would exhaust performers half her age. She remains a fixture on The Simpsons, where she voices Agnes Skinner, Brandine Spuckler, Lindsay Naegle, Dolph Shapiro, Crazy Cat Lady, and dozens of others. She returned for the Futurama revival on Hulu and continues recording for its upcoming 14th season. Her credits span well over 200 animated roles across 4 decades. MacNeille has kept her personal life remarkably shielded from public attention. She is among the most decorated voice actresses working today, and the fact that she can shift from the saccharine sweetness of Dot Warner to the cold fury of Mom in the same afternoon says everything about what she brings to a recording booth. David Herman voiced Scruffy, the deadpan janitor of Planet Express who read 0G jugs and spoke about himself in the third person. He also voiced Roberto, the stabbing-obsessed criminal robot Mayor Poopenmeyer, and Professor Farnsworth's bitter rival, Dr. Ogden Wernstrom. Herman was born on February 20, 1967, in New York City, and raised in the Washington Heights neighborhood of Manhattan. He grew up in a Jewish family and graduated from the Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts in 1985, before attending the acting program at SUNY Purchase. He appeared in Born on the 4th of July in 1989 and was one of the original 9 cast members of Mad TV when it launched in 1995, alongside fellow Futurama cast member Phil LaMarr. He left Mad TV after 2 seasons. In 1997, he began voice work on King of the Hill, where he met writer and director Mike Judge. Judge cast him as Michael Bolton, the computer programmer who refuses to change his name, in the 1999 cult classic Office Space. He also played key roles in Judge's film Idiocracy. Herman was 32 when Futurama premiered. He is now 59 years old, still actively working, and his credits include Mr. Frond on Bob's Burgers, which he has voiced for over 170 episodes, as well as roles on The Great North, The The Simpsons, American Dad, Disenchantment, and the video game High on Life 2 in 2026. His estimated net worth is approximately $3 million. Herman keeps his personal life entirely out of the public eye. He currently resides in Los Angeles. Phil LaMarr voiced Hermes Conrad, the bureaucrat from Jamaica who ran the books at Planet Express with inflexible precision and a deep love of limbo dancing. He also voiced Hermes' son Dwight, Reverend Preacher Bot, and Ethan Bubblegum Tate. LaMarr was born Philip James LaMarr on January 24, 1967, in Los Angeles, California. He attended Harvard Westlake School and graduated from Yale University with a degree in English, where he co-founded the Purple Crayon Improv Group. He was 31 when Futurama premiered. 5 years earlier, audiences had watched him get shot in the face in the backseat of a car in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. He had also just wrapped 5 seasons as an original cast member on Mad TV. At 59 years old, LaMarr has built one of the most staggering resumes in voice acting history. He is Samurai Jack. He is the Green Lantern John Stewart in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. He is Static Shock. He is Wilt from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. He voiced Kit Fisto in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and Baxter Stockman in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He returned to Futurama for the Hulu revival and also joined the cast of Fox's Best Medicine in a recurring live-action role. He has appeared in more than 1,000 episodes of television across his career. His estimated net worth is approximately $3 million. LaMarr is married and has a son who graduated from NYU's Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music and is pursuing a career as a musician and producer. LaMarr landed his first voice acting job while still in high school, performing on the animated series Mr. T, years before his Yale education or his Hollywood career. He is active on Cameo, where fans regularly request personalized videos featuring his characters. Lauren Tom voiced Amy Wong, the wealthy, clumsy, endlessly enthusiastic intern at Planet Express, and her demanding mother, Inez Wong. Tom was born on August 4, 1961, in Highland Park, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. Her grandparents emigrated from Kaiping in Guangdong, China. She was bullied as a child over her Chinese heritage, which pushed her toward dance classes and eventually into performing. At 17, she landed a spot with a touring company of A Chorus Line and was cast in the Broadway production less than a year later in the role of Connie. Her Broadway credits also include Hurly-Burly and Doonesbury. She won an Obie Award for her off-Broadway work and created a one-woman show called 25 Psychics, a comedic exploration of her search for inner peace, which debuted at HBO's U.S. Comedy Arts Festival in Aspen and won Dramalogue Awards for Best Performance and Best Direction. She starred as Lena St. Clair in the 1993 film The Joy Luck Club and played Ross Geller's girlfriend Julie on Friends in 1995 and 1996. Tom was 37 when Futurama premiered. She is now 64 years old and has spent the last 2 decades becoming one of the most in-demand voice actresses in animation. Beyond Amy Wong, she voiced Min and Connie Sufanusenphone on King of the Hill, Number 3 on Codename Kids Next Door, Dana Tan on Batman Beyond, Jinx and Gizmo on Teen Titans, and Judy on Avatar, The Last Airbender. She played Celia Mack on the Disney Channel series Andy Mack from 2017 to 2019 and has continued voicing Amy for the Futurama revival. She was previously married to Glenn Louwke and later married actor Kurt Kaplan in 1999. They have 2 sons together. Tom has also published personal essays in multiple literary outlets and has been writing a book based on those essays. Maurice LaMarche voiced Kif Croker, the long-suffering amphibian assistant to Zap Brannigan, who communicated entire emotional novels through a single, exasperated sigh. He also doubled as Calculon, the melodramatic robot actor, and Lur, the horn-headed ruler of Omicron Persei 8. LaMarche was born on March 30, 1958, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, to Guy LaMarche and Linda Borden. His family moved to Timmins, Ontario, shortly after his birth and returned to Toronto when he was around 4. One of his childhood neighbors was a young Mike Myers. LaMarche discovered his talent for mimicry during a high school variety night and built a stand-up career around celebrity impressions, opening for Rodney Dangerfield, George Carlin, Howie Mandel, and Donna Summer in the main showrooms of Las Vegas and Atlantic City. He was 40 when Futurama premiered, and was already well established as the voice of the Brain on Pinky and the Brain, a performance modeled on Orson Welles that he has described as 65% Welles and 35% Vincent Price. He won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Voiceover Performance in 2011 for his performances as LaMarr and Orson Welles in the Futurama episode L'Oreille, Reconcilable Indifferences. LaMarche is now 68 years old and remains active across animation and voice work. He returned for the Futurama revival and continues working on The Simpsons and various other projects. His path through comedy was marked by extraordinary personal tragedy. On March 9, 1987, his father was murdered, shot to death by a lifelong friend in a Toronto hotel lobby in front of dozens of witnesses. The event sent LaMarche into depression and alcoholism for 2 years. After getting sober on January 20, 1989, he returned to stand-up, only to lose his 18-year-old sister in a car accident in September 1990. He retired from stand-up comedy entirely at that point, saying he simply had no funny left in him. He channeled everything into voice work, and every sigh Kif Kroker ever breathed carried more weight than audiences knew. John DiMaggio voiced Bender-Bending Rodriguez, the foul-mouthed, beer-guzzling, cigar-smoking robot who somehow became one of the most beloved characters in animation history. He also voiced Sal, Elzar, URL, and Robot Santa Claus. DiMaggio was born John William DiMaggio on September 4, 1968, in North Plainfield, New Jersey. He was 30 when he first voiced Bender. His inspiration for the character came from Slim Pickens in Blazing Saddles, and a college friend who used to improvise as an old man obsessed with sausage. Before voice acting, DiMaggio worked as a stand-up comedian in New York and Los Angeles throughout the 1990s, performing alongside Dave Chappelle, Jeff Ross, Dave Attell, and Dane Cook. His comedy duo, Red Johnny and the Round Guy, had its own show on MTV. DiMaggio is now 57 years old and one of the most recognized voice actors alive. He voices Jake the dog on Adventure Time, Marcus Fenix in the Gears of War video game franchise, King Zog on Disenchantment, and Dr. Draken on Kim Possible. In 2013, he executive produced and narrated I Know That Voice, a documentary about the voice acting profession. He joined the cast of Fox's Best Medicine in a recurring live-action role as handyman Bert Large, which premiered during the 2025 to 2026 television season. His estimated net worth is approximately $10 million. DiMaggio married actress Kate Miller in 2014 and splits his time between New York and Los Angeles. His return to Futurama for the Hulu revival came only after a very public contract dispute in 2022 that fans dubbed Bendergate. DiMaggio held out from signing because he believed the entire voice cast deserved better pay, turning his personal negotiation into an industry-wide statement about the value of voiceover talent. His temporary absence from the announced cast list generated immediate fan outrage and a social media campaign that pressured the studio back to the negotiating table. He returned with the announcement fans wanted to hear, echoing Bender's own words. Katey Sagal voiced Turanga Leela, the one-eyed captain of the Planet Express ship, the competent one who kept Fry alive, kept Bender from destroying the ship, and carried the emotional weight of the show's central love story. Sagal was born Catherine Louise Sagal on January 19, 1954, in Los Angeles, California, into a family steeped in show business. Her father, Boris Sagal, was a television director of Ukrainian Jewish heritage who died on May 22, 1981, at the age of 57, when he walked into the tail rotor of a helicopter on the set of the NBC miniseries World War III at Timberline Lodge in Oregon. Her mother, Sarah Zwilling, was a singer, producer, and television writer who died of heart disease in 1975 at the age of 54. Sagal's godfather was the legendary sitcom producer Norman Lear, who had introduced her parents to each other. 3 of Sagal's 4 siblings are actors. Sagal graduated from Palisades High School and attended the California Institute of the Arts. She began her career as a singer and songwriter. In 1973, she worked as a backup vocalist for Bob Dylan, Etta James, and Tanya Tucker. She performed as one of Bette Midler's backup singers, The Harlettes, in 1978, and again from 1982 to 1983. She performed backing vocals on the Gene Simmons solo album in 1978 and on Olivia Newton-John's 1985 single Soul Kiss. Sagal was 45 when Futurama premiered and was already a household name from 11 years as Peggy Bundy on Married with Children, for which she received 3 Golden Globe nominations. She is now 72 years old. She won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Television Drama in 2011 for her performance as Gemma Teller-Morrow on Sons of Anarchy, a show created by her husband, Kurt Sutter. She spent 7 seasons on The Conners as Louise. In 2026, she appeared in the 2nd season of Netflix's live-action One Piece adaptation as the 140-year-old Dr. Kuroha, a performance that earned widespread praise. She has released 4 solo albums, published a memoir titled Grace Notes in 2017, and received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on September 9, 2014. Her estimated net worth is approximately $30 to $40 million, combined with her husband. Sagal has been married 4 times. Her first marriage was to musician Freddie Beckmeyer from 1978 to 1981. Her second was to drummer Jack White from 1993 to 2000, with whom she has 2 children, Sarah Grace and Jackson James. She married writer and producer Kurt Sutter on October 2, 2004, at their home in the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles. Their daughter Esme Louise was born on January 10, 2007 via surrogate. In 1991, during the 7th season of Married with Children, Sagal became pregnant. The pregnancy was written into the show's storyline. She lost the baby at 8 months due to a stillbirth. The writers reversed the storyline, revealing it had been a dream sequence. Sagal has spoken openly about that loss, as well as her struggles with addiction earlier in life and her journey through recovery. She met Kurt Sutter through a 12-step program and brought her sponsor to their first coffee date because, in her own words, she had such a bad picker when it came to relationships. Leela saw the universe through one eye and understood it better than anyone around her. Sagal has spent 5 decades in an industry that discards people without warning, and she has survived every version of that through talent, resilience, and a refusal to be defined by any single role. Billy West voiced Philip J. Fry, the most ordinary person in the 31st century and the beating heart of the entire series. Fry was dim, sweet, hopelessly in love, and somehow capable of saving the world when the moment required it. West also voiced Professor Hubert Farnsworth, Dr. John Zoidberg, Zap Brannigan, and Richard Nixon's head in a jar. Conversations on the show were often held entirely between characters he was voicing. West was born William Richard Werstein on April 16, 1952, in Detroit, Michigan, and raised in the Roslindale neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. He is of Irish descent. He was born with ADHD and autism. He graduated from Roslindale High School and briefly attended Berklee College of Music before dropping out to play guitar in local bands and sell instruments at a Harvard Square shop. During the Vietnam War, West received a low draft number under the Nixon administration's lottery system, but was classified 4F and excluded from service due to hypertension and flat feet. He later described his recurring role as Richard Nixon on Futurama as his revenge against the president who nearly drafted him. West was 46 when Futurama premiered. He had already established himself as the premier voice actor of his generation. He voiced Stimpy and later Ren on The Ren and Stimpy Show, both Doug Funny and Roger Klotz on Doug, and Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd in the 1996 film Space Jam. Entertainment Weekly called him the new Mel Blanc in 1998, a comparison no other living voice actor has received. His voice for Fry, he has said, is essentially how he sounded when he was 25. He made that choice deliberately, pouring more of himself into Fry than into any other character, and he did it so that no one could ever easily replace him in the role. West is now 73 years old. He returned for the Futurama revival on Hulu and continues recording for upcoming seasons. He voices the Red M&M in commercials, a role he has held since 1996. He fronts a band called Billy West and the Grief Counselors. He remains active on the convention circuit, with appearances booked through 2026 at events across the United States, and he is a vegan. His estimated net worth is approximately $15 million. West was previously married to Violet West. The marriage ended in divorce. His current relationship status is private. West has been open about an upbringing defined by violence. His father was physically abusive, and West has described his childhood as a period of sustained fear. He struggled with drug addiction for years before getting clean. In October 2006, he revealed on The Adam Carolla Show that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer and underwent surgery. He survived. He has spoken publicly about both the addiction and the cancer as defining chapters of his life, experiences that taught him how to keep going when the reasons to stop seemed overwhelming. Every time Fry says something stupid and somehow profound, every time he stumbles into saving the people he loves, that is Billy West reaching back through decades of pain and turning it into something an audience will carry with them long after the episode ends. The show is called Futurama, but the voice at its center belongs to a man who spent his whole life trying to survive the present. None of these 8 actors have died. All of them are still working. All of them came back again and again, every time the show was canceled and every time it was revived. Futurama has been killed 3 times, and 3 times these voices brought it back to life. Season 14 arrives in 2026. The delivery boy is still delivering. The robot is still bending. The captain is still flying. And somewhere in a recording studio, 8 people are still doing what they have done for more than 25 years, turning lines on a page into people you will never forget.